Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a yoga teacher and currently I'm in Hyderabad, India. So excited to be here in the country where yoga was born. I wanted to go through the standing series for Ashtanga yoga practice and just um, navigate going through the standing poses. And then just say that like once you master these poses, the way to practice them is to hold each one for 5 breaths. So we'll go through them all at a little bit more of a fast pace, just so that you can get a hang of like what they are. And then just know that when you practice on your own, you'll want to focus on 5 breaths in and out through your nose while you hold each practice. And that breath, it's a nice slow breath, so it really takes about almost a minute for each pose. So you're going to breathe 5 long deep breaths and hold it for about a minute in each one. All right? So the first thing we're going to do is a forward fold. Okay? That one's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. So you just hinge at your hips, you reach down, and bend your knees enough that you can touch your toes. Okay? You'll feel a stretch through the back of your legs. You're going to take your peace fingers and put them around your big toes and draw yourself in by pulling your elbows out to the sides. This is the first one. And then after 5 breaths, you're going to take this forward fold even deeper into what we call gorilla pose. You're going to take the palms of your hands and slide them underneath the bottoms of your feet so that your toes actually come to the crevices of your wrist. You're really going to bend your knees in order to reach this. And for some people, it's a little bit too deep, and that's okay. You can find some other way to attach your hands to your body, grabbing onto your ankles, or maybe just your big toes again, or wrapping your arms around your legs or something else like that. Anyway, so we're going to come into gorilla pose, taking the bottoms of the feet by the hands, sliding those palms underneath, toes wiggling in the wrist creases, nice deep bend in the knees. It's almost like a bound chair pose. And then just make sure that your head and neck are nice and loose. Shake your head, nod your head a little bit, and then make it nice and relaxed. So the goal here is not to keep the legs straight. You can have a deep bend in the legs. And just to feel that connection of your hands and your feet together. You can wiggle your toes a little bit to massage the palms of your hands and your wrists. And then just hold that. Again, each pose we're going to hold for 5 breaths when we practice this as the Ashtanga series. After that, every little chunk starts with Samastitihi, which is just mountain pose. And we come up to the top of the mat, and you stand, you press your palms together strongly. So this is an isometric exercise where you're actually activating a lot of your body. It doesn't look like much, but imagine that you're pressing up against a door frame. Have you ever done that where you're really, really pushing? It's giving all of your effort, and you're doing it with your hands together. So you're really pressing those palms together, kind of kneading this meaty part of your flesh into itself and really, really pushing. For that to really work, you need to have your elbows out so that your forearms are parallel with each other, okay? So we bring the arms so that they're parallel. We press the palms together, really activate. And notice how as you activate your hands, your arms, it kind of wraps all the way around your body. Pull your belly in and notice your core also activating. But let's not activate the legs. So you want to keep nice and loose and limber. Feel to bend and wiggle your knees, your ankles and hips should be loose. We're feeling the activation in the upper part of the body. This is Samastitihi. Okay. From Samastitihi, we're going to step into quite a few poses that turn the body to the side of your mat. So I'm practicing here in this kind of, I'm not on a mat. So I'm going to kind of talk you through how you're going to orient yourself on your mat, but then I'll be showing you where you can see me best from the angle of the camera. Anyway, so you'll bring all your weight into one foot. Don't worry, we do this on both sides. And then just step back with the other foot coming into a lunge. And then you'll rotate your body all the way around so your toes point the opposite direction with both feet. Okay? So that's how you're going to set yourself up. Now I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, so I'm going to turn sideways. All right, so from this, where we turned our feet all the way around to face the back of the room, we're going to open our arms out to a T, and then just tip the body until your fingertips come down towards your right leg somewhere. And this will be different on every person based on your leg length and what your history is with flexibility, and there's no right or wrong. Just bring your fingertips down somewhere on your leg, and don't press into your leg. This is just your hand kind of dangling down, hanging down, maybe resting a little bit, but you're not dumping your weight of your upper body into your leg at all. Some people like to use a block to rest the hand on. It helps with balance and a little bit better stability. So you want to kind of keep these arms like parallel. There we go. Good. Parallel isn't the word, vertical. So this is called triangle pose. And basically what we do with all of our Ashtanga forms is we do it on one side and then we do it on the other. So you're going to come up through what's called five-pointed star. You're going to turn your feet to the opposite direction. So whereas you were facing the back of your mat, now you're going to turn to face the front of your mat, okay? Keep those arms at a T and then tip the other way. Let your arm dangle down, okay? We're not dumping any weight into the leg, we're just kind of letting it rest there somewhere, wherever it falls, and then noticing the orientation of the arms, trying to get them to be perpendicular with the floor. Turn your head, if it feels okay, turn your head so you can look up at your fingertips in the air. Now that might be a little too much on your neck. It's okay if it is, just bring it back to neutral. Okay, so this is triangle pose. Awesome, yeah. So you hold that for 5 deep breaths in and out through the nose. Now, here's where we reset at the top of the mat. So step to the front, Samastitihi, pressing the palms together. So bringing that meaty part of like the bottom of your thumb, touching those together, really pushing those together, and making sure your arms are nice and straight across from elbow to elbow. Press your palms together. This is Samastitihi. Now we'll do the same thing, but with a bend in the knee. Oh, scratch that, sorry. We're gonna do the same thing, but with a twist. So the bend in the knee comes later. Excuse me. So then we'll do the same thing with a twist, and you're going to come into something called revolved triangle. So the setup is almost exactly the same. The only difference is what your arms do. So in order to get into it, you'll step back to that lunge and turn your toes around to the back, just like we did before. Step back, turn all 10 toes to face the back of the room, and then open your arms to a T. So this is where you're at. I'm going to turn my body so you can see the shape of it, okay? And then we're going to put the left arm down. Well, the opposite arm down. So it's okay if you're doing left or right, but you want to put the opposite arm down towards the ground, towards your ankle, and then the same arm as the leg that we're facing comes up to the sky. This is revolving triangle, okay? So for this one, you can place your fingertips on the floor, 8 or 10 inches out from your foot. That's fine. You can also adjust by putting just a little tiny bit of a bend in your knee, just a micro bend in your knee that helps access it a little bit better. And then there's one more adjustment you can do, and that's with the back foot. You can come up onto your tiptoes and kind of rotate your leg and your hips around a little bit more. Okay, so those are micro adjustments. Ideally, this leg is going to be straight because this is the triangle, the revolving triangle. But if you need to come up onto your toes or just put a little micro bend in that knee, that'll help you access the twist a little deeper. So this is your revolved triangle. And then we come through the center, we change our feet to the other side, and then we take the opposite arm across the body and down to the opposite leg, and here's your revolving triangle on the other side. Okay? How long are we going to stay here? 5 breaths. Okay, so 5 breaths in each pose, in and out through the nose. Excellent. Good, because I'm doing a lot of talking and explaining, I'm not actually pacing this video to be exactly 5 breaths. But when you practice on your own, or when you're practicing in Ashtanga class, you want to have 5 deep breaths for each pose. Okay, we come back to the top of the mat, Samastitihi, remembering to push that meaty part of your hands together. Press, 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 like your life depends on it. And bring your feet together and find your breath. This is Samastitihi, or mountain pose. Now we're going to do very similar to triangle and revolve triangle, but this time we're going to do it with a bend in the knee, okay? So from your mountain pose, you'll just step back to that lunge again. Turn around to the back of the mat and bend your knee, okay, towards the back of the mat. So I'm gonna turn so you can see. So you're here with a bend in your knee, okay? So now everything's gonna feel really different because of the bend in the knee. We'll bring this same arm down to meet this leg and rest on it. So elbow comes to knee, or forearm comes to thigh, whatever feels just about right and comfortable. Or you can bring your palm to the floor, to a block. That is a deeper level of this side angle, okay? So this is extended side angle. From here, we're going to reach the other arm up and over, and try and make a straight line, like all the way from your ankle and heel up through your side body to your fingertips. Good, this is extended side angle, kind of the basic form. Another option you have in this form that I really love is to wrap the top hand around the small of the back. And eventually you can also wrap the front hand underneath the thigh and do a what's called a bind. So it looks like this, where you have your fingers or your hands connecting underneath the leg, which is super fun. All right, so that one's called extended side angle, okay? So we do that, we hold it for 5 breaths, and then we turn the toes around to face the front of the mat. And you're gonna do it on the other side, right? So here we are, toes facing the other direction, bend your knee, okay? So you're starting in a lunge, and then you're gonna take the same arm as your bent knee, and you'll rest on it, okay? Rest on the arm, rest on the leg. This is the beginning of your structure for your extended side angle. Also an option to place your hand on a block or on the floor. Now, other arm, up and over, nice long straight line from heel through ankle, knee, hip, side body, all the way through your shoulders, elbows, and fingertips. One nice long diagonal line. This is extended side angle. You can also try a half bind, where you wrap that top arm around the small of your back. You turn your head up towards the ceiling to take the twist a little deeper. And then if you want to take the full bind, reaching this bottom arm around underneath the leg, and just with your fingertips reaching for the other hand. Maybe they touch, maybe they just imagine that they're touching. Good. So this is your extended side angle. And how long are we going to hold that? 5 breaths, okay? We've got the sunset coming in through the sunrise coming in through the window. You can start to see the light on my face. Okay, after that, we come back to Samastitihi. So standing with your feet close to each other, but not necessarily touching. Press your palms together. Press your palms together actively. Waking up your arms, your shoulders, your upper body, and softening your lower body, okay? Finding your core, zipping up your bandhas, which are your energy locks. So you feel kind of your core pulling in, and that is your bandha, right? Okay, so now we've done our extended side angle. And now we're going to do the twist version of that, which is almost the exact same setup with your legs, and then just twisting your body around, okay? So we'll step back, as we always do, and we'll turn the legs around, as we always do, facing the back of the room. Now for me to show you, I'm just turning sideways, but you are facing backwards. Okay, so here we are. We're facing backwards, we bend the knee, and then what we're going to take is the opposite elbow to the knee, okay? You're going to come up on your tiptoes in your back foot and rotate your body around your spine. This is called prayer twist. Now, to do it on the other side, you rotate your feet around. You rotate your body around, elbow finds bent knee down here. And this is your prayer twist as well. All right, how long do we hold that? 5 breaths, okay? And then we come back to Samastitihi, really pressing the heel of the hand together, activating your upper body with relaxation in your hips and knees, ankles and toes. And there's even relaxation in your head and your neck, and your shoulders can be active yet soft. So we don't want to bring tension in, we're just bringing strength. Okay, so from our Samastitihi, what do we do next? Just think about this for a second. Then I think we have our balancing poses. Okay, so we do our triangle or revolve triangle, our extended side angle, and our prayer twist. Those are the 4 that are kind of like triangle-ish. And then we do pyramid pose before we go on to our standing poses. So pyramid pose, you're going to step into a lunge, but not quite as deep as you usually would, okay? So you're just gonna step 1 foot forward, the other foot back, but still underneath your body. It's not quite as far. Hands on your hips, hinge at your hips, lead with your chest until your flexibility is like, whoop, I feel that in the back of my leg. Maybe you bring your toes up into the air and really feel that in the back of your leg. Once you find that nice stretch in your front leg, you're going to drop your head and round your spine a little bit. Relax into it for 5 breaths. Okay, then you'll want to do that on the other side. There's this funky little thing you can do if you want to rotate it around to the back of the room. You can just rotate your feet and you're already set up. Hinge at your hips, pyramid pose. Okay, so that's your pyramid. Next, we'll do some standing postures. But this video is already 17 minutes long. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here because you've done a great job so far. If you want to continue, I've got a part 2. And if you've had enough for today, that's great. Welcome to the Ashtanga Standing Series from Hyderabad, India. I'm Michelle.